The night we were filling out our college entrance exam applications, I had a falling out with my childhood friend Diego. Just because I helped Miranda research how to fill out her applications instead of helping you? Diego couldn't understand. Julia, even if you're jealous, can you at least pick the right time? Miranda looked aggrieved. Julia, if you're unhappy, I can give Diego back to you right now. I replied. Sure. Diego's face darkened. He pulled Miranda behind him. Julia, if you keep making trouble, I'll ignore you for 10 days as punishment. Diego thought I was just throwing a spoiled girl tantrum, that he could scare me a little and then coax me later. So he crossed the line again and again, getting closer and closer to the poor transfer student. But Diego didn't know that I had really decided to give up on him. I filled out my applications myself. At the last minute, I changed them to a northern city, to the university farthest from him, and our relationship ended this summer when we were 18. Chapter 1. When I found Diego at the internet cafe, his hand was resting on Miranda's shoulder. The two of them had their heads close together, flipping through the application guide. The distance between them was intimate, ambiguous. Like a young couple, I walked over, took off the custom couple necklace Diego had given me, and tossed it in front of him. Diego, let's break up. I glanced at Miranda, then looked back at Diego. Don't look for me again. Throwing a fit again? Diego hurriedly withdrew his hand, feeling annoyed. When are you going to get rid of that spoiled princess temper of yours? He pointed at the computer screen, his tone full of reproach. We were filling out applications just fine. Why are you here causing trouble? Causing trouble? I found it laughable. If you think I'm just here to cause trouble, then from now on, you go your way and I'll go mine. Just because I helped Miranda research applications and didn't help you? Diego still didn't understand. Julia, even if you're jealous, you should know when it's appropriate. The elders in our families valued Diego's and my college choices a lot. Our two families had already agreed that after the scores came out, we would fill out the applications together and have dinner. But when the time came, Diego stood us up and didn't show. The food was already prepared at home, waiting only for Diego. Half an hour passed. My parents asked Diego's father, "Does Diego have something more important than filling out college applications?" Diego's father gave an awkward smile. He didn't really know either. He's usually very punctual. I don't know what's going on today. He suddenly rushed out just now. Not long after, Diego's father looked at me and hurried to smooth things over. It's fine. They both did well on the exam. Didn't they already agree to go to Nanjing University? Since the school is basically decided, they can apply later together. This time it's Diego who was thoughtless. When we send them off to school, I'll treat everyone to make up for it. In the end, the dinner ended unhappily. The plan to fill out applications together was cancelled. I asked in the class group chat, "Has anyone seen Diego?" A classmate replied, "I saw Diego and Miranda going to an internet cafe together. That was why I had just stormed into the cafe." Miranda looked aggrieved. "Julia, if you're unhappy, I can give Diego back to you right now." I replied, "Sure." Seeing the tears in Miranda's eyes, Diego's expression darkened. He pulled her behind him. "I'm the class monitor. It's my responsibility to help classmates who need it. She doesn't have a computer at home. I brought her here to look things up and taught her how to fill out her applications. Is that wrong? Julia, if you keep making trouble, I'll ignore you for 10 days as punishment." In the past, whenever something happened, Diego was always the first to stand in front of me. Now he was yelling at me for someone else. In that instant, I felt it was all utterly meaningless. I didn't argue anymore. Diego thought I had compromised. That's more like it. Anyway, we're going to the same university. Does it really matter whether we fill out the applications together or not? Chapter 2. There were 4 or 5 classmates in the internet cafe, all craning their necks to watch the drama between the childhood sweethearts. Didn't you notice? Ever since Miranda transferred to our class, Julia and Diego's relationship has been getting worse. You see them arguing all the time. Could it be that the class monitor has fallen for someone else and made Julia angry? Miranda uses her status as a transfer student to trouble Diego with all kinds of things. She practically sticks to him. Exactly. Anyone would find that hard to accept. Julia's the only one who's been tolerating it. Of course, some classmates stood on my side. It's not like we're not filling out applications for the first time. None of us asked the class monitor for help. I think Miranda is scheming and deliberately looking for chances to get close to Diego. I walked past Diego and sat down next to Miranda. Filling out applications, right? I'll help you. When she heard that, Miranda stiffened. She instinctively refused and looked at Diego hesitantly. But Diego and I are already halfway through. If you suddenly butt in, it'll affect our progress. I glanced at the screen. Miranda's first choice was Nanjing University. Her second choice was a vocational college across from it. The third was still blank. As far as I knew, with Miranda's exam score, Nanjing University was a risky choice. Both of those choices revealed her intentions. Miranda panicked and hurried to explain. Julia, don't misunderstand. I chose Nanjing because it's close to home. You know my family situation isn't good. I can't go too far. As she spoke, Miranda couldn't help but start crying. It made it look like I was bullying her. I didn't give Miranda a way out. Aren't you the one who doesn't know how to fill out applications? Then, as the study committee member, I should be helping you even more. Seeing Miranda's eyes turn red, Diego pulled me away. Julia, do you really have to make this so embarrassing for all of us? Her background is different from ours. If she fills out her applications wrong, she'll never get out of the mountains. He scolded harshly. Go home right now. Stop making a scene here. You scared Miranda. The way Diego called her so intimately in private. He raised his voice several degrees. It startled me, and my body trembled. I couldn't hold back my tears. I couldn't believe that the boy I'd grown up with had become so unfamiliar. You yelled at me? Diego. You actually yelled at me for Miranda. Don't regret it. If I walk out that door today, then from this moment on, we are completely done. In the past, whenever Diego saw me cry, he would panic and try to comfort me immediately. This time, he didn't move at all, his face icy. Fine, don't regret it. After I walked out, I only heard Miranda ask softly behind me, Diego, what if the study committee member really stops talking to you? Diego scoffed and didn't take it seriously. She's just throwing a spoiled girl tantrum. I just don't feel like indulging her this time. I'll just coax her later. Chapter 3. After leaving the internet cafe, I was caught in a heavy rainstorm. I hadn't brought an umbrella. Halfway down the road, I was completely soaked and could only hide under a bus stop. Thunder rumbled overhead. The night was frightening. 2 children about 7 or 8 years old were standing under the shelter. The boy was tightly holding the girl's hand. Don't be afraid, little sister. Big brother will take you home later. Watching the scene in front of me, I drifted into memories. When I was 5, my parents were busy with their careers and temporarily left me at Diego's house. In an unfamiliar place, I became anxious and didn't dare cry, because I missed my parents so much. I once got lost in the villa neighborhood and couldn't find my way back. I cried alone for a long time. Diego came back from playing ball with his friends and saw me crying by the roadside. He squatted down and held out his hand. Who bullied you? Big brother will take you home. Don't be afraid. That day, Diego held my hand and taught me how to recognize street signs and house numbers. Remember? Look for number 32. You won't get lost if you follow that. Afraid I wouldn't remember. Diego pointed to the sweet osmanthus tree at the entrance of the house. When you smell the osmanthus flowers, you've found home. I nodded, half understanding. After that, Diego was afraid I'd get lost again, so he always went out with me. But now, it felt like everything had changed. I turned back and glanced in the direction of the internet cafe and made an important decision in my heart. Chapter 4. I returned home alone. Looking miserable, my parents asked what had happened. Suddenly, I felt a sense of relief. I went out in too much of a hurry and forgot to bring an umbrella. Without even changing clothes, I went straight into the study. Dad followed me in, his face full of concern. Julia, what happened? There was a small problem. I need to readjust something. I shook my head. Dad, I want to go to Jing University. Dad looked confused. Didn't you and Diego agree to go to Nanjing University together? I didn't hide my thoughts. Dad, Diego and I broke up. I want to go to Jing University and see what it's like. Dad was stunned for a moment. With your score, you can get into Jing University? I nodded and showed him my results. 30 points above Jing University's cutoff line. Dad was overjoyed and patted my shoulder. You kid. You got into Jing University and didn't even tell me. I'm so happy. No matter what decision you make, Dad will always support you. In fact, it wasn't just my family who didn't know. Diego didn't know either. He didn't know that my score was actually enough for Jing University. It was only because of the promise I made with him that I defaulted to choosing Nanjing. That night at midnight, I saw Miranda post a photo of Diego's side profile in front of a computer. She posted, "The class monitor is really nice. He helped me fill out my applications and even treated me to a late-night snack. I hope fate will be kind. I'm willing to do a good deed every day, just so I can get into Nanjing University too." Not long after, a red notification dot appeared. I saw that Diego liked the post and commented, "You made me look so handsome, Miranda, saving this pic dot." For no reason at all. My heart felt sour and unbearably uncomfortable. This wasn't the first time I had felt this way. In the first semester of senior year, our homeroom teacher brought Miranda into our class. "This is Miranda. She was the top student recommended from a rural town. She just transferred into our class this semester. She may not be used to things yet. So everyone please help her more." When they passed Diego's seat, the teacher introduced him to Miranda. "This is Diego, the class monitor. If you have questions you don't understand, you can ask him." Miranda politely extended her hand, looking a little shy. "Hello, class monitor. Please take care of me." Before she even finished speaking, her face visibly flushed. Diego nodded, and his ears quietly turned red too. Many students started teasing them. "Wow, the class monitor's ears are red. That's rare. The transfer student is so pretty, with eyes that gentle. Who wouldn't be moved?" Only after Diego said quiet did everyone stop. I secretly took everything in. Whenever Miranda had nothing to do, she would run to Diego's desk. Once, after school, Diego and I had agreed to go eat ice cream together. But after waiting a long time at the school gate, he still didn't show up. When I went back to the classroom, Miranda was holding a strawberry ice cream in front of Diego, tilting her head at him. "Class monitor, this is for you." The anger I had been suppressing exploded. "Diego, do you know how long I waited for you? And you're here eating ice cream?" When Diego saw me, he quickly withdrew his hand. "I was just about to go find you." Miranda asked me to wait a moment. Miranda hurriedly explained, "Study committee member. I just wanted to thank the class monitor, so I treated him to ice cream." I suddenly remembered that I had agreed with Diego at noon to go eat ice cream, and Miranda had been right next to us. That night, she went ahead and treated him first. I grabbed the ice cream from Miranda's hand and threw it into the trash. "Don't you know Diego is allergic to strawberries? And you still bought him strawberry ice cream." Miranda's naturally beautiful, peach blossom eyes immediately filled with tears. "Class monitor, I'm sorry. I didn't know. I didn't mean it." She glanced at the ice cream in the trash. "That ice cream cost me 20 yuan. What a waste." Then she looked at me, her voice choking. "Julia, do you have something against me? Why do I feel like you don't like me?" I stopped hiding my feelings. "You're right. I don't like you." Seeing the situation escalate, Diego stepped in. "Julia, don't go too far. She just wanted to treat me to ice cream. What did she do wrong?" That day, Diego defended Miranda for the first time, stood on the opposite side from me, and had a huge fight with me. The ice cream was never eaten. We went cold with each other for a whole week. In the end, Diego bought many different flavors of ice cream and came to my house to apologize. Only then did he manage to coax me into forgiving him. Chapter 5. Once there's a crack in a relationship, it's hard to ever go back to how it was. Just thinking about how, ever since Miranda showed up, Diego had argued with me over her again and again. We no longer walked home together after school. After school, I waited for Diego like I always did. He said he had to tutor Miranda first, just because I had a private tutor at home, while Miranda's family was struggling and couldn't afford one. When he kept putting Miranda first in everything, I also grew tired of this kind of relationship between us. My phone suddenly buzzed, pulling my thoughts back. An unread message, sent by Diego. "Julia, Since you didn't go against Miranda that day, in 10 days it'll be your 18th birthday. Tell me what you want, I'll give you a huge surprise. I didn't respond. I blocked Diego instead. I dialed the Peking University upperclassman I met in my second year of high school at a physics competition. On the phone, Senior Joel sounded excited. Julia, welcome to PKU. I remember you said you really like studying robotics. Perfect. Come join our club at PKU. What you learn and the horizons you'll broaden will definitely be better than staying in Nanjing. It clicked instantly. I replied without hesitation. See you at PKU. Senior Joel already knew that I'd wanted to stay in Nanjing for Diego, and he'd been talking sense into me for a long time. A person can't stay trapped in the same place forever, and don't sacrifice anything for love. The meaning of a bird's existence is to fly out and see the world, to shine in its own way. No one should sacrifice for anyone. In the study, I made plans for after I reported to PKU, and also for my post-exam graduation trip. Turns out, I didn't have to have Diego. Only after I finished did I realize my desk mate Zoe had called me with several voice calls. Seeing that I hadn't picked up in time, she sent several texts in a row. Julia, where did you go? Why aren't you answering? Julia, did you see Miranda's new post? That birthday bracelet you wanted, why is it on Miranda's wrist? Chapter 6. Miranda posted a close-up of the bracelet on her wrist. The caption read, "His graduation gift." That limited edition bracelet was the gift I'd always wanted. I'd mentioned it to Diego before. Diego acted mysterious and said he was going to give me a surprise. But now, the thing I once wanted most was on someone else's wrist. Then I didn't want it anymore, even if it was from Diego. But when I looked closely at that bracelet, I suddenly laughed. I pulled open a drawer, took a photo, and replied to Zoe, "That one's a fake." Because the one and only limited edition in the world is lying in my drawer right now, my dad bought it as a reward for me. Zoe compared my authentic one carefully, then went to look at Miranda's post. She marched straight into Miranda's comments and wrote, "A knockoff. And you still have the nerve to show off. I don't know which classmate who was watching the drama posted the fact that Miranda was wearing a fake bracelet onto the forum. The thread got over 100 comments, and the gossip spread like wildfire. Miranda quickly hid that post. The next time I saw Diego was when the admission letters came out and the school told us to come back and gather. Downstairs in the teaching building, the red honor list had been posted. Packed with people, Diego walked up the steps, and classmates congratulated him one after another. Class monitor, congrats on getting into Nanjing University. The PE rep saw Diego come alone, glanced at the empty spot beside him, and asked without thinking, "Where's Julia? Why didn't she come with you?" Some classmates who knew what was going on started asking curiously, "Are you still in a cold war with Julia?" Diego didn't deny it. He chuckled. "One more day and our cold war will be over. Then we'll make up." He looked full of admiration. "Our class monitor really has the charm. He's got our study committee member completely under his thumb." Julia's wrapped around his finger. In the crowd, someone said, "Huh, class monitor. You and Julia applied to different schools." Julia got accepted by PKU. I remember when we wrote our university goals on the application wall. You two both wrote Nanjing University. Diego's expression froze. How is that possible? Julia and I agreed on Nanjing a long time ago. The classmates who had seen the red list all said, Julia didn't apply to Nanjing at all. She applied to PKU. Thousands of miles away. You're south and she's north, so far apart. Diego stiffened on the spot. His face went blank. Disbelief written all over it. No way. You must have read it wrong. Diego couldn't believe it. He squeezed forward to look at the admissions list himself, and the smile on his face instantly solidified. It was as if all the sounds around him disappeared. His brain went buzz. He checked the names again and again. Julia? PKU? Impossible. We had an agreement. After confirming there was no mistake, Diego's face turned ashen. He couldn't say a word for a long time. No one around dared to speak anymore. I arrived late because I'd gone to the principal's office. That's right. I applied to PKU. Chapter 7. The classmates all crowded around to congratulate me. Study committee member. You hit it so well, getting into PKU and keeping it secret. Julia, you're truly Class 3's pride. When you make it big, don't forget us. So impressive. The pride of Class 3. Julia, I thought you only wanted Nanjing University before. I didn't expect you'd be this capable and go straight to PKU. Now we've got connections at PKU too. I smiled and answered everyone. I didn't expect to do that well on the exam either. If I can go to PKU, why would I apply to Nanjing University, right? Seeing me, Diego wanted to ask something, but I was already pulled away by a teacher from the school's publicity department for an interview. As I turned around, I saw Miranda holding her admission letter, walking quickly toward Diego. Diego, even though Nanjing University didn't accept me, my school is right across from your university. We can still meet up often in the future. She raised the admission letter in her hand. Diego, thank you for putting so much effort into helping me fill out my applications. There were also a small number of people nearby watching the drama. Diego's expression was ugly at that moment. Like a bomb, easy to ignite with just a spark. He ignored Miranda and said flatly, "As long as you have a school to go to, that's good." Noticing Diego was in a bad mood, Miranda said softly, "Diego, my mom said that to thank you for helping me with my applications. She wants to invite you to our home for a meal. If you don't mind our place being simple, I'll wait for you at the school gate this afternoon." Diego watched me being surrounded and taken away by reporters. Looking a little at a loss, the PE rep couldn't help asking from the side, "Class monitor, did you mess this up?" Diego didn't answer. He quickly switched his expression. "No, I know Julia. Julia has depended on me her whole life. Even if she goes to PKU, she won't be able to bear leaving me." Seeing Miranda, he thought of something. Since Julia made a big move, I'm going to let her know what it's like when I'm really angry. Diego looked at Miranda's back and chased after her. "Miranda, I'll go to your house for dinner this afternoon." Chapter 8. When my parents first sent me to Diego's house, I was very quiet and rarely spoke. Diego thought I was introverted, that we didn't communicate much, or that I didn't like him. In first grade at school, those mischievous boys often gave me nicknames and called me the little deaf girl. After school, Diego shouted to me from behind, and I didn't hear him. Diego ran up, emotion on his face. "It's one thing if you ignore classmates at school, but why do you ignore me when I call you too?" I understood his lip movements and hurried to explain. "I was so absorbed in thinking about homework that I didn't notice you calling me." Diego flicked my forehead. "What an idiot. Then I can only run after you. Until one day, when the nanny went out to buy groceries and forgot to turn off the heat on the soup, my secret couldn't be hidden anymore. When the kitchen caught fire, Diego smelled something burning, rushed downstairs, and shouted, 'Julia, run!' In the chaos, seeing the roaring flames, I stood there at a loss. I hid in a corner. In desperation, Diego rushed over, pulled me under the osmanthus tree, and called the fire department to handle it. Afterward, with blame and lingering fear in his voice, he said, 'Julia, do you know how dangerous that was? Why didn't you answer when I called you just now? Were you scared?' Seeing so many people in the yard, I trembled and told Diego the truth. 'I'm sorry.' During Spring Festival when I went back to my hometown, my ears were damaged by firecrackers and I lost my hearing for a while. I was afraid people would dislike me because of it, so I kept pretending I could hear. From that day on, Diego never let me go near the kitchen again. Because of that, Diego went to his father and arranged for me to have surgery at the hospital. My ears slowly regained hearing. When I came out of surgery, I heard Diego's voice for the first time, truly heard it. Diego pointed at his ear, gesturing in front of me. "Julia, can you hear?" I nodded obediently. That day, Diego told me, "Julia, you don't need to pretend. The real you is good. From now on, this is your home." My relationship with Diego got better and better. We went to and from school together every day. Other kids envied us. After I got to middle school, my dad came back to take me away, but I had already gotten used to living at Diego's house, and I couldn't bear leaving him. I used a condition and begged my dad through tears. "Can I stay until I graduate middle school? If I get first place in the entire school on the entrance exam, then let me stay in Nanjing forever, okay?" Dad had no choice but to agree. So every day I studied like crazy. When I didn't understand something, I actively asked teachers. Diego even complained about it. saying all I did every day was study and I didn't pay attention to him. That year's middle school entrance exam, I really delivered. I got first place in the entire city. Dad also moved the company back to Nanjing and bought our family a house across from Diego's villa neighborhood. When Dad took me home, Diego helped me pack my luggage and joked from the side, "You suddenly live so far from me. I'm not used to it." Not long after, Diego suddenly said seriously to me, "Julia, in the future, can we get into the same university? That way we'll never be separated." I nodded and agreed. "Then let's aim for the most famous school in Nanjing, Nanjing University. Okay?" That summer after the middle school entrance exam, Diego took me to see Nanjing University. We took a photo together at the school gate and agreed to come back here 3 years later. A teenage girl's feelings grew wildly at that moment. But ever since Miranda appeared, everything changed, and our relationship ended in the year after Miranda appeared. Chapter 9. After the interview ended, I went to the homeroom teacher to collect my admission letter. By the time I got back to the gate of the residential complex, it was already 10 o'clock. The moment I unlocked my phone, I saw a text-only post Miranda had made. "The way he looks when he's drunk is kind of cute." Those flirtatious words felt like a smug declaration after getting her way. From far away, I could already see Diego leaning under that osmanthus tree. Just as I was about to detour around him, he called out to me, "Julia!" I stopped. Even from a distance I could smell the alcohol on Diego. I sniffed. "You drank?" Diego's cheeks were flushed. "Just a little. Why didn't you tell me when you filled out your applications?" His eyes gradually reddened, his voice choking up. "Didn't we agree to go to Nanjing University together? Now you're going to PKU. What am I supposed to do in Nanjing by myself?" Diego punched the osmanthus tree, pulled me into his arms, and tried his best to restrain his emotions. "Julia, why did you make this decision on your own and not tell me?" I shoved Diego away hard, and all the emotions I'd been holding in burst out. "Wasn't it you who said it? Everyone fills out their own applications, and it's not like I have to go to Nanjing University. I'll apply wherever I want. It's none of your business." Diego staggered 2 steps, then suddenly laughed. "At the end of the day, you're still jealous because I helped Miranda fill out her applications. Can you be a little more generous?" Diego looked aggrieved as he walked over and slowly took hold of my hand. Whenever Diego and I fought in the past, him coming over to make peace meant holding my hand. If I didn't pull away, it meant my anger was gone. I pried Diego's fingers off mine. Ruthless and decisive. "Diego, this is where it ends for us." Chapter 10. Just as Diego was about to come closer, Miranda appeared in the complex, who knew when she'd shown up. In a soft, gentle voice, she called out, "Class monitor, wait for me." She was holding a bag of chocolates. I took one look. It was the brand I usually liked. Miranda walked up to Diego and handed him the gift bag. A little nervous. "Diego, you forgot to take your things. You left them on my family's sofa." Miranda deliberately stressed the word family, afraid I wouldn't catch it. I snatched it away and spoke up directly at her. "A green tea act gets stale if you steep it too long. Switch it up. This is old." I stepped forward and shut Miranda down. "Please don't use your pitiful innocent acting to insult my intelligence." This time Diego didn't come after me, and he didn't respond to Miranda either. I stuffed the chocolates into Diego's hands, and an envelope fell out. It was a love letter addressed to Diego. Diego explained in a panic, "Those chocolates are what I bought for you. The love letter isn't mine." I smiled, and stuffed the love letter in with the chocolates too. "This is Miranda's confession letter to you. She's confessing. Give her an answer." As I turned to leave, I told Diego, "Diego, I don't like chocolate anymore." Chapter 11. On the day of my 18th birthday banquet, I didn't invite Diego, but he still came uninvited. Diego took out a gift box, his voice tender in a way I hadn't heard in a long time. "Julia, happy 18th birthday. This is a custom Julia bracelet I had made for you. There's only one in the whole world. It represents my feelings for you." At the dinner table, while the two families were talking, Diego's father stood up to speak, unable to hide his emotion. "Congratulations to Julia for getting into PKU. I've watched Julia grow up, and she's becoming more and more outstanding. If only our Diego had scored a little higher, then he could go to PKU too, and hold on to such a good girl like Julia." I understood what Diego's father was implying and picked up the thread. Uncle Diego. Those childhood arranged engagement jokes don't count. Diego is excellent too. I also wish Diego smooth studies and that he finds a girlfriend soon. The deliberate distance I kept made Diego's face grow uglier and uglier. After toasting everyone, I slipped out to go pick up the PKU upperclassman. He lived in the same villa neighborhood. When he heard I was having a birthday banquet, he came specially to congratulate me. I ran over excitedly. Senior, you're here. Diego stood by the window, his expression dark. As I was going up the stairs, Diego's large hand yanked me into the stairwell. Who is he? I didn't hide it. A PKU upperclassman. Diego's grip tightened little by little, his voice breaking down. Did you change your applications last minute and go to PKU because of him? So you're the one who changed your heart. You deliberately targeted Miranda just to find an excuse for your new crush. No wonder I felt guilty for so long. Diego had never understood that it was his repeated neglect of me for Miranda that had caused what we had today. I deliberately provoked him. Yes, I went to PKU because of him. Why should I wrong myself and stay at Nanjing University for you? Go find your Miranda and keep being your great saint. Chapter 12. Before PKU started, we moved out of our current villa, a place we had lived in for 3 years. After returning to Beijing, I felt everything was reborn. My parents took me to Hainan, and then we traveled in Beijing together for a while. While we were climbing the Great Wall, a neighbor called my dad and said Diego came looking for me that morning. I opened the security camera footage and watched. Diego was pressing the doorbell and pounding on the door, but the realtor told him the villa had already been listed for sale, that the original owner's daughter had gotten into PKU, and the whole family had already left early to go adapt to the environment around PKU. Diego stared at the tightly shut door in dead silence. All the memories and noise of the past seemed to vanish in an instant. Chapter 13. After freshman year began, I quickly adapted to PKU's study pace. Aside from the weather being a bit dry, everything else was pretty good. I no longer deliberately asked about Diego. I only occasionally saw class group chats discussing that Miranda went to the vocational college across from Diego's university. But Diego seemed like a different person and never paid attention to Miranda anymore. Some people said they ran into Diego at Nanjing University. Diego had just started freshman year and was already thinking about grad school. He even changed his status to 4 years later. See you at PKU. Senior Joel knew I wasn't used to the climate here. My skin was dry, so he often brought me skincare products. These are what I see the girls in our class use a lot. I asked what brands they are. You can try them too. I accepted politely. Thank you, Senior. Senior Joel brought me into the robotics club and introduced me to many seniors. Everyone took good care of me. Our team was researching an elder care service robot. Besides classes, we often needed to run to the lab. On Christmas Eve, we worked overtime until 11. A light rain started to fall. Senior Joel said I hadn't brought an umbrella and wanted to walk me back to the dorm. From far away, I saw a familiar figure downstairs. Rain soaked Diego, but his gaze was fixed on every passerby. Diego stood beneath the girls' dorm building, holding a large bag. He even used his jacket to protect the bag. When he saw me, Diego lit up with joy and walked toward me. But the moment he saw Senior Joel behind me holding an umbrella over me, his eyes instantly fell into loneliness. Julia, how have you been? I came to see you. It had been a long time. Diego had gotten much thinner, his face more worn. There was a trace of melancholy in his eyes. I replied politely, I'm doing very well at PKU. Seeing that I was still willing to speak to him, Diego's mood brightened too. He shoved the things in his hands toward me. Do you know? The osmanthus in Nanjing has bloomed. I brought you your favorite osmanthus cakes. If you're free tomorrow, can we go eat together? Okay? Diego looked as if he'd used up all his strength, desperate for my response. His eyes were more sincere than any time he tried to make peace before. But I remembered that scene when I was 7, when Diego secretly took me out. We used our pocket money to buy osmanthus cakes and ate them under the osmanthus tree by our front gate. 7-year-old Diego had been imagining the future. Julia, when we grow up, do you think we'll still sit here together eating osmanthus cakes? I smiled and answered, of course, we'll eat lots and lots of osmanthus cakes together. We'll never be apart. The sweet cakes, the childhood promise, it all felt like yesterday. In the past, I would have softened long ago. But the more beautiful the memories are, the more the reality hurts. Diego and I, it felt like we couldn't go back. Chapter 14. Right in front of Diego, I tightly linked my arm through Senior Joel's. Once again, I made my stance clear. Seriously, Diego, I have a boyfriend now. Don't come to PKU to see me anymore. If my boyfriend sees you, he'll get jealous. When did you start dating? Diego froze in place, his voice trembling. How come I didn't know? You must be lying to me, right? He kept shaking his head, refusing to believe it. I tightened my grip on Joel's arm, signaling for help. Joel wrapped an arm around my shoulder, his tone indulgent. I knew it. You still care about me. I tilted my head and looked at him. Well, you are my boyfriend. Joel stepped forward and warned Diego. The one who's close has the advantage. Since you missed your chance, please exit with dignity. I hope you won't come and bother my girlfriend again. Rain pattered softly against the edge of the umbrella. Every drop that fell sounded especially loud. I pulled Joel forward, but Diego called out to me again. Diego pointed at the computer page, his tone full of reproach. I shook my head and didn't turn back. Diego shoved the bag in his hand toward me. This is something I brought all the way from thousands of miles away to Beijing. Keep it. This time, I didn't refuse. The rain grew heavier. Joel and I squeezed under the umbrella and walked back to the dorm together. Diego broke down alone where he stood. Chapter 15. After we had walked far away, I let go of Joel's arm. Senior Joel tapped my forehead. So now you've learned to joke around with me too. Aren't you afraid I'll take it seriously? I smiled. Then your acting was pretty good. In a pause between our chatting, I opened the bag Diego had brought from Nanjing. Inside were fresh osmanthus cakes and a delicate pink photo frame. It was the photo we took together at the gate of Nanjing University after the middle school entrance exam. Joel stopped walking. His voice was no longer as casual as usual. Since we've already acted it out, can I get one chance for it to become real? My breath caught. My heart pounded. Then I'll think about it. My story with Diego ended in the blazing summer of 18, and I have to keep moving forward and start a new life.